Hello everyone, I will be exposing Steven Crowder. In today's video, we expose Steven mocking US war veterans that protected this country.
The mystical, age-old culture of China.
You compare black people to a monkey eating a banana? That's f***ed up!
I wonder what US war veteran, Li Wang, has to say about Steven doing stereotypical racist caricatures of Asians.
But there are some ignorant people that will come up to me and say that I don't look American or patriotic enough. Now that really gets my goat. A lot of Asian restaurants, they experience that too. And they are hard-working American, hard-working people, law-abiding citizens. Some even serve in the U.S. Armed Forces of America. Not Chinese Army, U.S. Army, U.S. military. People question my patriotism, that I don't look American enough. They could not get over this face. I want to show you something. I want to tell you. Because I'm not afraid. I don't have to live in fear, intimidation, or insults. I'm 69 years old. And I'm going to show you what patriotism, the questions about patriotism looks like. Here is my proof. This is sustained from my service in the US military. Now, is this patriot enough? I'm not ashamed to walk around anymore. Before I felt inhibited. People look at me strange and dare to question me my loyalty to this country. I don't look American enough. Now, last I read the US Constitution, we the people, we are all the same. We are equal. Not this. You are more superior, you are not. Prejudice is hate. And that hate, it can be changed. We are human because we are all the same. We are one human being on this earth.
Steven did mock US war veteran Li Wang. You could make the argument that Steven did these racist remarks before Li made his statements, but I would counter that argument and say it was Steven's actions that provoked others to question Mr. Wang's citizenship and loyalty to the United States, based on him not being Caucasian and having an accent. If Steven did his research, he would know there were army battalions during World War II, comprised mostly of Asians, specifically Japanese Americans. The 442nd and 100th Infantry Battalions is known as the most decorated in U.S. military history. 21 of its members received medals of honor and several other thousands of awards were given. They fought for the United States to prove their loyalty, despite the racism towards Asians because of the attack at Pearl Harbor. What Steven does is flat-out racist, and he tries to cover it up by calling them jokes. If you are offended, then it's like you are the problem and too sensitive. Steven claims he's a comedian. He's not, and failed at being a successful one. He's making claims that he's a comedian so he can use that as an excuse to make offensive material. If he gets any backlash, then he'll blame the comedian part of him and not take actual responsibility for what he does. Stephen tries to sell a tactic doing racial stereotypes to try and eradicate racism. Stephen has never had a crime done to him or his family growing up involving his race. One of the contestants and winner on the reality TV show, Survivor, Yul Kwan, gives a short story on his upbringing living in America.
I remember where we lived growing up. Every year we'd have our Christmas lights smashed by a bunch of kids. And then one time they TP'd our house, and another time they spray painted racial slurs on the street outside of our house. And I remember getting angry. And I wasn't so angry that I was a victim of discrimination, but I was more angry that they were so ignorant that they didn't even get the racial slurs right. And to me, that really kind of underscored not so much what I consider to be hatred, but a real ignorance or lack of understanding. You either learn about people in one of two ways, through direct interaction with them, or vicariously through what you hear and what you see, often through the media. For a lot of people in this country, there's still communities where there's not a lot of diversity, so you don't have that direct interaction with them. But everyone watches TV, everyone watches movies, and that's why I think media is such a powerful platform and a tool for educating people, challenging them, and getting them to think in different ways. And that's why ultimately I went on Survivor. But for me, I think that's just a very small step. What I hope to see is more depictions of Asian Americans and roles that depict Asian Americans as three-dimensional people and as real Americans.
How did Stephen not insult these U.S. war veterans? Why does he choose to do immature, childish skits to make his point? Did Stephen join the military and risk his life to protect the country that he loves? If Stephen isn't a coward and doesn't think what he does is considered offensive, why doesn't he go to these Asian American war veterans and do these stereotypical characters in front of them? Have any of you Stephen fans seen these war veterans make stereotypical racist remarks to Caucasians? If Stephen is brave and heroic for what he does, why doesn't he dare put on black or brown face and walk publicly around predominantly black and Latino neighborhoods, doing stereotypes for those races? And last, is Stephen considered an American patriot? Thank you for taking the time to watch my video. I want to thank Mr. Lee Wong for his service. I also want to thank all other military veterans for their services and the sacrifices they're willing to make.
Oh, is that what they told you?
Well,
So you're just lazy with your research? You get to
Stephen,
a
show
30th of
yourself,
the
you
audience
coward.
share.
Stephen, show yourself.
Or a 30th
Don't show
of the
your
audience.
co-host.
Ethan, you should show
Stephen,
yourself.
Ethan, how can you respect yourself as a man, brother?
Stephen,
so
Stephen, you are such a coward. Stop showing your little leprechaun co-host who comes out dressed like your
Ethan, come on,
sidekick.
Ethan, why do you have to bring on a guy
Show
who welcomes
Stephen.
a 30th of the viewership of
Why are you-
yourself?
Baddest thing I've ever heard. So you have a
Just
guy
show
with
Stephen.
less